Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I'm going to discuss something today that's always, it's kind of funny, but it's also one of the things I do get slightly annoyed by when people ask me questions about my early lifting. Hey, exactly when did you start lifting? How long did it take you to bench 225? And it's because a lot of that I tend to forget, right? And here's the reason. I always tell people I started lifting in my early 20s. I don't know if it was 20 or 22. I don't know. I'm 47 now. So, we're talking 25 plus years ago. But here's the problem with that question. When did I start lifting seriously, or when was the first time I got under a bench press? There's the problem. I lifted multiple times well before I was an adult in different points. So I don't count that as lifting, but some people would. Meaning if you lifted for 6 months and did some stuff at 11 and didn't touch it again for a couple years, did you start at 11? And here's a quick brief based on my limited memory of this. When I was something like 11 or 10 or 13 or something, my dad got a weight bench and some dumbbells. And he showed me how to do some stuff. And I don't know how long I trained, but I did a little benching and some dumbbell stuff and maybe learned to do some chin-ups on a tree. My dad and stuff. Do I know if I was 10 or if I was 13? I have no idea. Was it because we were doing something with a class? I don't know. Because the same thing, middle school for me. Our PE teacher, and I don't even know if they have PE anymore. So people say, I don't know what that is, right? He, I guess, is like the little basketball team coach in middle school. But he was also our PE instructor, and he had a bunch of weights, and he had us to do a weight day once a week. And we learned how to do, he taught us a little bit how to squat and how to do some cleans and some overhead pressing and bench. And we did, some free weight stuff. He had about 7 or 8 Olympic barbells and things. I was probably 12 or so, I guess. I don't know. But we did that for a whole semester. We had one day every week. It was Wednesday, I think. Where we did some lifting. Okay. Does that count as me starting? Same thing my freshman year in high school. Our PE teacher there, right before I moved out of state, and then we came back when I was 17, we also did the same thing. We had a weight class as part of PE. Right? Does that count? When I was, something like 19, because I had been getting out of shape or getting fat or whatever, my mom hired a personal trainer and a gym membership, and for a couple months, they put me on some circuit training, and I did circuit training 2 or 3 days a week, lost a little weight. But then I quit doing that, right? And then I got into distance running. And then I tell people, I really remember, and I forget that other stuff because that's come up in stories. People will say, but didn't you say that, one of your cousins got you in the weight room and you fell in love with the squatting and all that and quit running? Because I had been distance running. I lost 100 pounds distance running. And the answer is yes, because I forgot about all the other stuff from the middle school because it had been so long ago. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. We totally did that. But that point in my early 20s, and I don't know if I was 20 or 21 or 22. Does it matter, though, at this point? That's 25 plus years ago. Does it matter? I don't think that it does. So if people say, did you start lifting at age 10 or did you start lifting at age 22? I actually don't know at the end. I'm going to say, I guess, 10 years old then. But I didn't stick it out. I stuck it out from my early 20s. So, see the problem with the question. So then we really get into the problem, what year did you bench 315 the first time? I don't know. 2002, 2003. But here's the problem. It was over 20 years ago. Does it matter? And I think that's part of the issue I get into when people ask me these sort of questions. I mean, we're talking 20 plus, maybe some of this 30 plus years ago. So if someone says, hey, how long did it take you to reach X amount of lift? I have no idea. I remember certain things. I remember the first time I deadlifted because it was 455. But is that misleading? See, this is the problem. Is my own training history then misleading? Because I wasn't new to lifting. I could already squat 405. I had just never tried a deadlift. Some of the powerlifters at the gym were over things that, hey man, you squat a lot. What do you deadlift? I didn't know. Like, we'll teach you how to deadlift. And they're pulling 455. All right. But I was really good at rows and squats already. And this is kind of the point. These things just don't matter. They become a blur. And I think the valuable lesson, I think with a lot of this, people obsess over all these small things and milestones. You know why? Because you're beginners or you're in your first 5 years of lifting. When the iron game becomes a lifestyle, it all just flows together at a certain point. And for me personally as a coach, I draw way more knowledge and experience from the things I watch observing 20 or 30 or 50 clients than I do with my own training, because that gives me a more rounded experience. I can spot patterns and how to look for different patterns in people's bone structures and genetics and everything else that I can apply to new people, right? My own situation doesn't apply. A lot of times my clients don't have the lifestyles. They have different structures, different goals. Okay? It's not about me as a coach or the information I put out. It is about drawing on a vast amount of experience, drawing upon a larger body of knowledge, things I've learned talking to other coaches, talking to other lifters, stuff I've learned coaching people for years and years. Okay? We draw upon that knowledge. That's what matters. And the other thing is just kind of a side note, because it comes up and people will ask me and then I'm like, I'm not really sure. I mean, how do we define started lifting? And I guess that's really relevant, because people have this assumption, you know, that people my age or lifelong of this, that we just had an obvious start point. And that may not really be the case. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.